Time to cook more GTA theories. Let's go. Is Claude speed? Now, before we jump in, remember this is just a fan theory. Rockstar hasn't confirmed anything, so take it all with a grain of salt. Let's start with the basics. Claude is the main character in GTA 3, released in 2001. He's known for his quiet demeanor and that iconic jacket. Then we've got Claude Speed from GTA 2, which came out in 1999. Both characters share the same first name, which is our first little connection. The theory suggests that Claude from GTA 3 is actually an older version of Claude Speed. It's an interesting idea, especially when you consider the timelines. GTA 2 is set in a retro-futuristic version of 2013, while GTA 3 takes place in 2001. Some fans argue that the events of GTA 2 could be seen as a potential future that was avoided, leading to the timeline we see in GTA 3. Now, let's look at some similarities between the two characters. Both Claudes are known for their driving skills and their willingness to work for various criminal organizations. They're also both pretty adaptable, able to use a wide range of weapons and vehicles. But here's where it gets a bit tricky. Claude Speed in GTA 2 does talk, while Claude in GTA 3 is famously silent. Fans who support this theory suggest that Claude might have lost his ability to speak between the events of the two games. Maybe he had an injury or just decided to take a vow of silence. Who knows? There are also some physical differences between the two characters. Claude Speed has a more punk rock look, while Claude Ox that more laid-back street style. But hey, people's fashion choices can change over time, right? One interesting point in favor of this theory is that both characters seem to have a similar moral compass, or lack thereof. They're both willing to do whatever it takes to climb the criminal ladder, showing little loyalty to any one gang or faction. Now, it's worth mentioning that there are some pretty big holes in this theory. The biggest one is probably the time discrepancy. If GTA 2 is set in 2013 and GTA 3 in 2001, how does that work? Some fans argue that GTA 2's setting is more of an alternate future rather than a concrete timeline. Another issue is that Rockstar has never officially connected these characters. In fact, they've generally treated GTA 2 as separate from the 3D and HD universes of later GTA games. Another year or more like Butterfly Effect. Amanda is responsible for GTA 5's entire story. So, here's the basic premise. Theory is that Amanda's affair with her tennis coach sets off a chain of events that ultimately leads to all the chaos in GTA 5. It's a pretty wild theory, but let's break it down and see what we've got. The theory starts with that iconic scene early in the game where Michael DeSanta catches his wife Amanda in a compromising position with her tennis coach. In true GTA fashion, Michael chases the guy down and, along with Franklin, ends up destroying a cliffside mansion that turns out to belong to the girlfriend of a powerful Mexican drug lord. This incident, according to the theory, forces Michael out of his comfortable, if boring, retirement and back into the criminal life. It puts him on the radar of the FIB, reconnects him with Trevor, and ultimately leads to all the heists and mayhem that make up the main plot of GTA 5. The theory suggests that if Amanda hadn't been caught cheating, Michael might have stayed in his witness protection program, living a quiet life of luxury and therapy sessions. The domino effect from Amanda's affair is pretty fascinating when you think about it. Her actions indirectly lead to Michael's debt to Martin Madrazo, forcing him back into crime to pay it off. This return to criminal activities puts Michael in the FIB's crosshairs, leading to their blackmail and manipulation. The FIB's involvement eventually results in Trevor discovering that Michael is still alive. All of these events culminate in the major heists and conflicts that make up the game's main story. What makes this theory particularly intriguing is how it highlights the way personal drama drives the larger plot in GTA 5. It reminds us that the game isn't just about heists and shootouts. It's about dysfunctional relationships, midlife crises, and the far-reaching consequences of our actions. In the GTA universe, even something as personal as an affair can have massive, city-shaking repercussions. Now, can Franklin talk to animals? So, remember that mission where Franklin's got to help out Lamar by taking care of Chop the dog? Well, some eagle-eyed players notice something kind of weird during that whole thing. There's this moment where it looks like Franklin is straight up having a conversation with Chop. Like, not just talking at him, but actually communicating. He also talked with a dog in a different mission too. Now, most people would just brush this off as Franklin being one of those dudes who talks to their pets. We all know someone like that, right? But some fans took it to a whole other level. They're saying this could be proof that Franklin's got some Dr. Dolittle thing going on. Think about it. Throughout the game, Franklin seems to have this weird connection with animals. He's always chill around them, even when shit's hitting the fan. And let's not forget how good he is at hunting. Maybe it's not just skill, you know. Maybe he's got the inside scoop from his animal buddies. This theory gets even wilder when you think about Franklin's special ability in the game. He can slow down time while driving, right? Some folks are saying this could be linked to his possible animal communication skills. Like, maybe he's tapping into some primal instinct or something. And get this, some players swear they've seen Franklin react to animals in ways that the other characters don't. Like he understands them on a deeper level or something. Now, I'm not saying I buy into this 100%, but you gotta admit, it's a pretty fun idea to play around with. Imagine if Franklin could actually understand what all those dogs and cats in Los Santos are saying. That'd be a whole new level of GTA crazy, right? In GTA 5, if you roll through Grove Street, things are looking real different from how we left them in San Andreas. The big shocker? Grove Street is decked out in purple. Yeah, you heard that right. The Ballas have taken over CJ's old hood. Now this is where the theory kicks in that the only way the Ballas could have snagged Grove Street is if something major went down. And by major, we're talking about CJ biting the dust. Think about it. We left San Andreas with CJ and the Grove Street families back on top. They'd pushed out the Ballas, dealt with Big Smoke and all that drama. CJ was sitting pretty running things. So how'd it all go south? The theory goes that sometime between San Andreas and GTA 5, the Ballas came back with a vengeance. Maybe they caught CJ slipping, or maybe it was an all-out war. Either way, the idea is that CJ went down fighting to protect his hood. Maybe CJ got set up, or maybe he was outnumbered in a massive shootout. There are even wilder theories about corrupt cops or rival gangs from other cities getting involved. Now you might be thinking, but CJ was a badass. How could he lose? Well, the theory suggests that's exactly why it had to be something big to take him out. CJ wasn't just some small-time banger, he was running things. So for the Ballas to take over, they would have had to remove CJ permanently. This one is a little bizarre. So there's this pretty intense theory going around about Michael and the Epsilon program in GTA 5. Some players have picked up on a couple of weird scenes and put together a theory that's kinda messed up. The theory goes that Michael might have been taken advantage of by the Epsilon program during his time with them. Now, why would anyone think this? Well, it all comes down to a couple of strange scenes in the game. There are 2 times in GTA 5 where we see Michael in some, compromising situations after dealing with the Epsilon crew. Both times, he's found without his clothes, just lying around looking confused. The first time is in the desert, and the second time is on top of a building in Los Santos. Now, normally in GTA, if a character wakes up in weird places, it's usually after a wild night of partying, right? But with Michael and Epsilon, it's different. He doesn't seem to remember how he got there or what happened. And that's where this theory starts to take shape. Some players think these scenes might be hinting at something more sinister going on behind the scenes with the Epsilon program. Like, maybe they're using some shady tactics to control their members or something. The theory suggests that the Epsilon program might be using drugs or hypnosis on Michael during these enlightenment sessions. And while he's out of it, well, that's when the bad stuff might be happening. It's a pretty heavy theory, and it adds a whole new layer of creepiness to the already sketchy Epsilon program. If it's true, it would explain why Michael seems so out of it in those scenes, and why he's so eager to get away from Epsilon once he's got their money. Now, it's important to remember that this is just a fan theory. Rockstar never confirmed anything like this, and it's possible those scenes were just meant to be funny or show how weird the cult is, but some players see these moments as hints at a darker subplot. This theory kind of fits with the overall vibe of GTA 5, where nothing is really as it seems, and everyone's got some skeletons in their closet. It makes the Epsilon program even more of a villain in the story, if you buy into it. Remember, GTA is known for hiding deep, sometimes dark storylines beneath its wacky exterior. This theory, true or not, is just another example of how players dig into every detail of these games to uncover potential hidden narratives. This wild theory about the Mount Chiliad mural in GTA 5, that's gonna blow your mind. It's all about how those 3 symbols, the UFO, egg, and jetpack, might actually represent our 3 main dudes: Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. First up, we've got the UFO. It represents Michael. Why? Well, our boy Michael is kinda like an alien in his own life, right? He's all disconnected from his family, living this fake life in witness protection. Dude's basically an outsider in his own home. So yeah, UFO fits him pretty well. Next, we've got the egg. This one's supposed to be Franklin. Makes sense when you think about it. Franklin's just starting out in the big leagues of crime. He's fresh, he's new, he's basically hatching into this wild life of heists and chaos. Our boy's the new kid on the block, so he gets the egg. Last, but definitely not least, we've got the jetpack. And who else could that be but our crazy boy Trevor? This dude's all over the place, causing mayhem wherever he goes. He's unpredictable, he's always on the move, and he's definitely got that chaotic energy. Jetpack fits him to a T. But here's where it gets really interesting. Take a closer look at those symbols. See how the UFO and the jetpack both have X's on them. But the egg? It's got a straight line. Now what if that's not just random design, but actually a hint about how the game ends? This might be showing us that no matter which ending you choose, Franklin's the only one guaranteed to make it out alive. Michael and Trevor both have endings where they can die, but Franklin always survives. It's like the mural is giving us a sneaky little spoiler right from the start. This theory ties in pretty nicely with how the characters' stories play out. Michael's always dealing with that feeling of being trapped in a life he didn't choose. Trevor's constantly on the edge of self-destruction. But Franklin? He's the one with the most potential. The one who's still figuring out his path. Now, I'm not saying Rockstar definitely planned all this out, but you gotta admit, it's a pretty cool way of looking at that mural. It turns a simple Easter egg into this deep, symbolic representation of the whole game's story. So next time you're up on Mount Chiliad, take a good long look at that mural. Maybe you'll see our 3 anti-heroes staring right back at you. Or maybe you'll come up with a whole new theory. What do you think? Is this theory onto something? Or is it just another wild goose chase in the world of GTA mysteries? Either way, it's pretty fun to think about, right? Is Mr. Nasty actually Donald Love? So, for those who don't know, Mr. Nasty is this creepy dude from Manhunt who's all about making snuff films. He's the voice on the other end of the earpiece, telling the main character what to do. Pretty messed up stuff, right? Now Donald Love, if you've played GTA 3 or Liberty City Stories, you know this guy. He's that rich, eccentric media mogul who's got some, let's say, unusual tastes. Dude's got some dark secrets, that's for sure. The theory goes that these two characters might actually be the same person. I mean, think about it. Both of them are into some seriously twisted stuff. Donald Love is hinted to be a cannibal in GTA, and Mr. Nasty, well, he's all about violent deaths on camera. Both of these guys are obsessed with the media, too. Donald's got his radio stations and newspapers, while Mr. Nasty's all about those snuff films. It's like they're two sides of the same messed up coin. Their voices sound kinda similar. I mean, it's not exact, but there's definitely a vibe there. And let's not forget, both of them stay behind the scenes, pulling strings without getting their hands dirty directly. Now here's where it gets even wilder. In GTA 3, Donald Love mysteriously disappears towards the end of the game. Some people think he might have faked his death and reinvented himself as Mr. Nasty. I mean, if you were a cannibalistic media mogul looking to lay low, becoming the shadowy director of snuff films kinda makes sense, in a totally messed up way. Of course, there's no official word from Rockstar on this. They love to keep things mysterious, you know? But it's fun to think about how these two universes might be connected. If this theory is true, it would be a pretty dark twist on Donald Love's character. It'd show just how far he fell after leaving Liberty City. From a public figure to a voice in the shadows, still chasing that thrill of death and violence. Next theory about Big Smoke from San Andreas that's gonna make you see that intro in a whole new light. People are saying Big Smoke was actually at CJ's house to take out Sweet during the prologue. And the more you look at it, the more it seems like it might be legit. So, remember how the game starts? CJ gets back to Los Santos for his mom's funeral, and Big Smoke's just chilling at the house. At first you think he's just being a good homie, looking out for the family. But nah, I reckon he was there for way darker reasons. And then there's the timing. Big Smoke's at the house late at night, way past normal visiting hours. What's he doing there so late? It's like he was waiting for something. Or someone. Now, we know Big Smoke turns out to be a traitor, working with the Ballas and all that. So it makes sense he'd want Sweet out of the picture. Sweet was the leader of the Grove Street families, and taking him out would have made it way easier for Big Smoke to take over. Some fans even point out how Big Smoke's carrying that bat. Like, why's he need a weapon if he's just there to chill? Maybe he was planning to use it on Sweet, make it look like a Ballas attack or something. And let's not forget, right after this, there's that drive-by shooting. It's like the backup plan went into action when Big Smoke couldn't get to Sweet at the house. The more you think about it, the more it all adds up. Big Smoke's odd behavior, the late-night visit, the questions about Sweet, the bat, it all points to him being there for some shady business. This theory just shows how deep the betrayal goes. Big Smoke wasn't just selling out the gang later on, he was plotting against them from the very start of the game. It makes his character even more cold and calculating than we thought. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Till then, take care and have a nice day.